Now it's about 6 a.m., so it's time to go watch a friend rant on YouTube.
So in the last video I discussed how they had awful customer service, how
I have so much work ahead of me today. Oh, the fan is on. I should turn that off. I have so much work ahead of me today. For those of you who have me on Twitter and Facebook, you would know that my computer has been having some problems. It was sort of like buckling and like splitting open, and for a while I duct taped it because that's what you do when you grow up poor. You learn how to just kind of jury rig things and fix your own problems so you don't have to pay to have them fixed. But after a lot of reminding from Joshua that, hey, you have money, you can afford to fix your computer and it might be something serious and you can write it off anyway, I was like, okay, fine. Took it in. It was a swollen battery. Like, look that up. It sounded bogus to me at first, but it's actually a thing and potentially dangerous. Like, your battery can explode and shoot hot battery acid on you, not to mention, like, destroy your computer. So, yeah, good thing I took it in to get it fixed. It needed to be done, but because they had to order the part, you know, the new battery, and for it to come in, and then they just kind of took a long time, I guess, I was without my computer for 2 whole weeks, which is pretty preposterous for me, for somebody who, you know, uses their computer to work. As a result, well, thankfully the first week I didn't have any work anyway, so it's not like I was losing work, but I could have been making videos or like doing something else that requires my computer. I do like all of my planning on my computer. Every time a random thought pops into my head, I write it on the computer. So I was like using I was like using, I don't know if the writing showed up. It's gibberish anyway. It's just a bunch of food plans. I plan my food. I'm that exciting. But yeah, I had to resort to like being old fashioned and writing things out on pieces of paper. Because I didn't have my computer. But anyway, the other thing that was bad that happened from not having a computer for 2 weeks was that the second week I finally did get work. A huge job that's like really high pay, really high volume. And the first due date for the first batch of the job is like a few days from now, actually, but I finished it, thankfully. And then the second due date is mid-August. And that's probably around when I'm going to be moving out of state, like the big move. So that's going to be fun, scrambling to do all that. And since I lost a whole week of time where I could have been working, I have to work extra hard, extra long hours, like every single day. I've been working, well, today will be day number 6. For like consecutive days worked. And after that, I'm going to work another 3 days before I leave to go look for apartments. So yeah, having to play a lot of catch up, and that sucks. The other thing that sucks is that there were 2 companies I was gonna do translation tests for and apply for them. I wound up, because I was so disorganized, like by not having my computer, it's how I plan and schedule everything. I was out of my head and I miscalculated like the time difference for one of the tests, because they gave me the time in like Philippine time because it's a Filipino company. I missed my first chance to take the test, so that probably left a bad impression. And I took the test again and I didn't pass it. And then the other company that I was going to take a test for, I delayed that one too a few days, and I told them, sorry, my computer's in the shop. I expected to be back soon, but it wasn't. So I took the test still a few days late, which also probably left a bad impression. And then I had to use Joshua's computer for both of the tests because I didn't have my computer. And, you know, computer I'm unfamiliar with. His keyboard is smaller than mine, so I don't type as quickly on it. They were timed tests. I'm not saying I failed the test because of all of these things. Like, I might have failed the test anyway, but it just didn't help. But I am catching up. I'm slowly getting back to where I should have been by now. And today I've got part of a long file for the game that I'm translating to do, and then another bit of an Otome game that I've been translating. This is like my regular recurring thing that I've been doing for, God, like, I think 2 years? Maybe 2.5 years by now. And poor Hermione woke me up like about 10 minutes before 6 this morning by puking. So she's been having that a lot. I'm wondering if she has a hairball. Anyway, to work. Okay, so this job, I should talk a little bit about it. well, I mean, I can't say too much about it because of my NDA. I actually scoured the internet yesterday to see if they'd even announced that the English version of this game would be released, but I haven't seen it anywhere, so I definitely can't say the name of the game I'm translating. Oh, hi, Hermione. But anyway, it looks like it's actually a pretty cool game, like a game that I might actually enjoy playing. It is story-based, but there's also some gameplay. And most of what I translate is like just story-based freemium phone games, Ultimate games specifically, where there's not much like actual skill involved. You know, you're just reading stories for the most part. But anyway, the thing about this game, and the file is not opening because it's being stupid. There it goes. The annoying thing is I'm on right now, like I already translated the story part, and now I'm on just like a bunch of gameplay things. And somebody else already translated like part of the gameplay aspects of this game, and they want me, the company wants me to like match all the terms. I mean, that makes sense. You want consistency. And the company themselves already like edited the terms that the other translator translated to what they wanted, and so I have to correspond to that. But what's really annoying is like, even if I encounter a word that I know, like I understand what it means, I have to look it up in their glossary just to make sure that I'm translating it the exact way they want it to be translated. So it's taking a little longer than it should. The good news is that like a lot of things in gameplay, you'll have like, you know, last night when I was working on it, I came to a point where like 25 lines of it was just chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and that's super easy and super mindless to translate. I had that for like 100 lines, and usually it might take me, with this job, like a half hour to an hour to translate 100 lines, but like that, it took me like, you know, 2 minutes to translate it because it was like a lot of copy pasting. Anyway, yeah, so that... I need to look up this term and see if it's in the glossary. Apparently it isn't. I need to look up part of the term because it's a bunch of kanji. Okay, it's not in the glossary. Yay. But now I have to look it up in Japanese Google because I don't know what it means anyway.
4 kanji compounds are the bane of my existence.
Google.co.jp to the rescue. My internet connection will not be slow and lame. Question, do you ever look up a word and then see the translation of the word and then you're like, I still don't know what this word means? Feeling that right now.
Yes, dear? Is it playtime? Is it playtime? Yeah, I'm gonna wander away. Good girl, Mimi. Look at how fat he is. The fatty McFat. And the squirming little brat.
Having a very nutritious breakfast of the last piece of birthday cake for my cat's birthdays. They turned 5 a few days ago, and some beignets that I made like 3 days ago. And they've seen better days. I'm gonna eat them all. Stale donut.
Hi. What's up, Fly?
Okay, well I just got to a very long, hard, and tedious part in the game. They're both games. I'm translating so many things I'm losing track of what I'm translating. But I've just reached a very difficult part of the gameplay for the big game that I'm translating. It's very tech heavy and very, very thick, very wordy, and I'm gonna have to look up a lot of things. So I'm gonna pause that one, put a pin in that one, and work on the really super easy Ultimate game job that I have to do today. It's, you know, only about 10 o'clock, so I'm actually making very good time. Yay! I did not get very far before I got hungry for lunch. And since my breakfast was so unhealthy, I will be having a healthy lunch of beans and rice and salsa verde. Finished the section of Otome game that I was going to translate today, so it's time for a smoothie break. This is exciting because this marks almost the end of using up all of the random like pantry food that my brother gave me when I visited him a few months ago. Like, I was visiting him and I mentioned at some point that I'd been eating more legumes, and he's like, "Oh, do you want legumes? We have a bunch of them." And he sent me home with this like giant cardboard box full of dried beans, dried chickpeas, dried lentils, dried split peas, and then also canned beans, canned corn, and canned fruit, which I didn't even ask for, but I guess he just wanted to get rid of it. I'm not a fan of canned fruit, so I've been putting it in smoothies because I put, you know, fresh fruit that I buy at the peak of the season that I then freeze, so it's delicious, and I combine that with the canned fruit and with yogurt, and it makes it taste good. This is the last can of fruit that I have, and I've used up all the canned corn, all the canned beans, all the lentils and split peas and chickpeas. All I have left are a couple bags of dried black beans and one bag of dried pinto beans, which I'm also trying to eat up as much of that before I move, because I hate like packing food when I move. That's like one of the most annoying parts about moving, and I hate throwing away food or getting rid of food because it's a waste of money, so I'm trying to eat as much out of my pantry and freezer as possible. Not too excited about getting back to work on that really hard technical part of the other job.
I'm so not looking forward to this.
I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but another really annoying thing about this job is that there's a lot of like strict character count limitations, because the text has to fit into, hi Thalia, the text has to fit into like the little dialogue boxes in the game. So I can't go over the word count, otherwise it won't fit in the box. So like, not only do I have to translate these things, but I also have to translate them like using a strict word count, and that means I have to spend extra time actually running a word count over things, but I also have to, if it's over the word count, which is pretty common, because generally speaking, Japanese takes fewer characters to express a thought than English does. Like sometimes a single character is a word in Japanese, whereas the word whereas in English is several characters. So then I have to like really shorten my sentences, and sometimes like elect which aspects of the translation I have to leave out, basically, like what's less important. And so that part's really hard, and this part has a lot of that. I've copied it into Word because I can't do a word count in Excel. And there's so much of it. Oh boy, okay. Here we go. And there's also HTML littered in here, which is fine because I know how to do HTML coding, but it's just kind of like yet another hurdle, because then I have to like not include the HTML coding in the word count. Cool thing though is a lot of these, this right now, it's like class descriptions, and I actually play RPGs like tabletop style, so I know actually a lot about gameplay in that regard. Right now I'm translating basically a description of a tank character, for those of you who play a D&D or Pathfinder and know what a tank is. But yeah, so at least I kind of know what it's talking about, so I have some context, so it's a little easier to translate.
Hi, Lili. What? You want mommy time? Oh dear. Are you gonna block mommy so that she... Oh, there we go. Yep, it's okay. I didn't need to see the computer screen. It's okay. Carry on. I'll just wait. Oh my goodness.
It's time for a ballet break! It is dinner time, and that means leftover gumbo and fresh local corn. If you've never had fresh local corn, you've never had corn. Okay, it is about 6 o'clock, and I am far from done with my day's work, but I did promise a friend I would go see a show tonight. I used to be part of this sketch group, but I decided not to do this show because busy moving, etc. Didn't want to stress myself out. So I'm gonna go see the show. However, I don't have my car because Joshua's at a con with it. So I'm gonna walk to a friend's house and she's gonna drive me there early, and then I'm gonna probably work in the theater lobby for an hour and a half before the show. We'll see how that works out. And I threw on this shirt and put on some pressed powder and some lip liner so it looks like I made an effort. Time to go walk out into the oven. I am so exhausted. Time to take a shower and go to bed so that I can repeat the entire process tomorrow.
Say goodnight, Miney. Nighty night. Nighty night. Thought you'd be squirming by now. Really?
It's been like this for half an hour now.